Hello. Today we're shaking another table, and I know that for many parents and caregivers this has been a question on their minds, and sometimes they've even fought with the school teachers about it. Today we're talking about homework for preschoolers. Is it really necessary? So, of course, as usual, I have my partner in shaking tables, Mrs. Jennifer Uzodike in the house. She is the founder and head of school for Fruitful Orchard Montessori School in Abuja, as well as a board member on the Association Montessori International. Welcome, partner.
Hi,
good to see you. You look lovely.
Oh, you too.
Great.
We look very...
I like. I'm wondering how went on. It was not a plan, please.
No,
anyways,
we're in the spirit.
Yes. So homework. My personal experience is that for my first son, I homeschooled him pretty much until he was 3, and at 3 was the first time that he had to go to a proper, traditional school. And I remember at the time I explained to them that, of course, he knew a lot of things that were taught him, but he was still perfecting his pincer grip and all of that. And I asked them, is the learning individualized? And they're like, yes. You learn at his own pace, yes. And the first day from school, this young little man came home with this much workload, and we were supposed to fill out basically, I guess, what his teacher was trying to do, because he also came in mid-term, was just trying to get him to catch up and it was really, so I would sit with him trying to finish the homework, and on one of those evenings he just burst into tears and was crying, and I felt frustrated, and I just looked and I was like, no, this thing should not be this hard. Like, why? Of course, again, they drove me to do more research and all of that, and then I found out, anyway, long and short, I finally had to pull him out of that school. But basically, from your Montessori perspective, what's your take on giving homework to preschool children? What does it really help?
So from my take and from a research point of view, it doesn't help.
When you say it doesn't, you've
it
come
doesn't
again.
I know.
You're absolute.
You're always asking me these questions. It does not help.
You should say, okay, well, give
all right,
one.
all right, let me give you the answer. Okay, so it doesn't help young children in the first plane of development. When I talk about the first plane, I talk about like from birth to till about 6. Yeah. It does not help them. There's so much that children need to learn. They're learning how to be humans in that first plane of development. And hammering things continuously. So they've heard it in school. Assuming they've heard it in school, because sometimes I wonder if the teachers are transferring
parents
their
actually
work
say that wait, excuse me, am I supposed to be
so
doing this
let's
work?
caveat it.
Yes.
If they have done the work that they're supposed to do in school, I don't think that they need to bring the homework home.
Back.
Homework should be putting what they are learning into context and perspective. So let's say they are learning 2 plus addition, right? At home, instead of going through a workbook again, it could be, oh, can you bring me 2 oranges for you and 3 oranges for your brother? Yeah. And how many would that be? And so they're still doing the homework, they're still revising, but they're learning in a concrete way.
Yes.
I feel like that time spent doing homework, prescribed homework in that way, takes away from the time where they could be exploring and applying the things that they have learned. And you know what? In nature, if you look, I love nature, I love being in nature. I look to nature for a lot of things, because I feel like it's in many ways the design for how things are supposed to be. In nature, you will notice that most times when a change happens, or when something takes in, there's a quiet, there's a lull. You know, like what I have it fresh on my mind, because we just watched the caterpillar transform into a butterfly at school. And so it's just fresh on my mind. And for about 10 days, it was actually, if you had looked at it, you would have thought nothing was happening. It was just the pupa was just there, very still. And then it came out. And it's the same way that I think learning happens, because I've seen this many times in my school with many children. They take things in, and there's this period where it's just like they just have to process it, and it's unconscious. It doesn't need help. If you do your work correctly in the beginning, then you need to give them time. When they come home, it's that time to rest, because they do need to rest. It's that time to experience other things that allow them to make connections.
Yeah,
Because
and sorry to butt in at this point, also the time to play. Because bear in mind that most schools, in fact, I was very concerned to find out that, I mean, I went to a school, they have a huge field, and I just took for granted that, I mean, they had recess, you know, break time, that we used to look forward to those days every day. And they're like, no, it's once a week, or it's, and I'm like, why? And we're talking about children in the early years, where even the new WHO recommendation is saying up to 180 minutes of movement, outdoor play, and all of that is crucial for the development of that child. So first of all, you have made the child sit all day in school, and then they want to come back home again and sit again.
I think that it is, unfortunately, from an ill-informed view of what the priorities of childhood are.
Exactly.
I mean, we're so focused on academics, but development is more than academics. Yeah. Did you know that in most advanced countries, Finland, especially Finland, Denmark, children don't even start school till 7. But in global exams, those countries do the best.
Yes, Finland is.
So that's something that we can. That's informative for me.
Yes.
You do not need to. I found that, you know, a lot of people. So in my school,
don't do homework.
I mean, we don't do homework.
You don't do exams.
We don't do exams. I know, we're very different. We're very different.
But wait, let me ask you
that.
that.
Children don't even start to write until 3 or 4. We're not in a rush. But you know what happens? What I found, when a child is ready, they learn very fast.
Take off.
I always give the example that you can. This is a little bit of a long example, but I want you to just visualize it. You're in Maitama and I'm in Gwarinpa. It's a short example. I used to live in Lagos, so I used to give a Lagos example, but I'll give an Abuja example. It's the same. You can wake up in the morning and say, oh, I want to go, okay, I'll use a far place. I want to go to Buari this morning. Oh, I need to be at Buari by 10. Oh, let me leave by 7 and start going. You didn't check your car. You didn't check maybe like the traffic, you know, now we can check the traffic. You didn't check the weather. Yeah. So you start early and you start chugging, you meet traffic, you're frustrated. Finally you get there. You might get there at 10. You might get there before 10, who knows? But somebody else could wake up and say, I have an appointment in Buari, I want to get there. What's the best time? What's the best time to get there? Yes. You know, okay, let me check my car. Is the oil right? Okay, well, let me prepare my car. Let me check the traffic predictions and see what it's like. And they're like, actually, the best time to leave is actually 9:30. And they go and rest. They come, get ready, you know, prepare their car, all of those things, get in the car by 9:30. They might get there at the same time. They might even get there later. But guess what? They will still achieve what they went to get. And they will have enjoyed the journey. And so they have next time they will say, oh, I will go to Buari again. Yes. Versus the other person whose experience was terrible. I never want to go to that place again. We do that to children with learning. Yes, they might pass the exam. Yes, they might. I don't even find that there's a significant difference in how, like, when they eventually write. Yeah. And how many times has somebody asked you, when did you start reading? As an adult, please, when did you start reading? I don't know. It doesn't matter if you started at 3 or 4. In fact, research finds that a lot of times, those who started later, they have a better grasp of it and a deeper love. And what we want to develop in our children is a love for learning. Exactly. It's not just memorizing or suffering. We want them to enjoy the process of acquiring knowledge.
I mean, you're so right, because I mean, why I stopped in the example I was giving my son was I just looked at it. I said, no, if there's one thing I want to be his take away from going to school and all of that, is to love to learn. In fact, I feel like school really is to teach how to learn, because in life you're going to have to learn different things and you're going to need different things. But my question, which was why I was wanting to interrupt you when you mentioned your school, how do you deal with parents? Because I know that I've talked to some educators and that's their issue. Some educators, they know this, what we're saying, they agree with it, but they're like, the pressure from the parents are the ones that, no, my son is 2, my friend's son is writing, he can read, my own cannot, why? And that begins to, they begin to feel like, oh, they're not doing as well. So they actually put some of these things in place, homework and everything, just to be seen as
I think it's unfortunate because a lot of schools do that.
Yes.
They change their values and what they know to be right to fit the parents. I personally think that if you're an expert and you know what is good for the child, in my school, we listen to the parents, we try to meet the parents' needs, but never at the detriment of the child. We always prioritize what the child needs.
Yeah.
And I think that when parents know what is, most parents don't know. This is how they have been brought up.
Exactly.
So in their mind, this is the best way. But I think that so in our school, we spend a lot of time on parent education because I find that when parents know
better, they will do better.
A lot of them, they have good intentions. They want the best for their children. They just think that this is the best for their children. I mean, I think that's why we're doing this. So parents know that there are other ways.
Yes, and better ways.
Yeah, there are better ways, exactly. So I think that if schools, first of all, remember why they're doing this. Know that, well, different people are doing it for different reasons, but I hope that you're doing it for the betterment of the child. And if you remember that, and you know, you yourself have to do your research, be educated, and be up to date on what are the best practices. I feel like when you know it, you can practice it, and you can explain it to the parents. Parents are logical people, and then the proof is always in the pudding.
Exactly.
Like when just when the children, when your child eventually is able to read, you just have to be patient. I tell parents, trust me, just be patient. Give me some time. And no, I don't make unrealistic promises. I set realistic expectations from the beginning. And I think that just educating the parents is what you have to do, and then you have to know that some parents will come, some parents will go, and hopefully, the right parents
will find the right fit in the right schools. Because I just wanted to say to you that, okay, what if I'm a parent, I know this, I want this, and I go to my kid's school and they're like, no, what do I do? Yes, because I think that's a good question to answer. What do I do? Because it's probably not every time you can pull your child out of the school. For me, I did that when I had that kind of experience, but I know that that's probably... everybody can't do that for some reason. So what can a parent do at home? I've also found some parents who have put their foot down, and then they bring assignments and they're like, they go and tell the teachers that, yes, I said he should not do that. He came back, he was tired or whatever. So what what would you advise as a way to...
I said earlier that the teacher is an expert. Unfortunately, sometimes they're not.
Yes.
Sometimes they don't actually know. No. I mean, depending on their training or depending on their education or their background, they actually feel this is the best way to do it. So sometimes if you are an enlightened parent who, you have your proof and all of that, I think you can always approach the school respectfully and, propose what you're thinking. And then if that doesn't work, I do not force my children. I would not. I would not force my children to do it. Of course, you want them to have good habits. You don't want them to feel like they can go against,
like constituted authority.
So I think that I would just, I'll try to fight the battle from different angles. Continue to talk to the school. Be flexible with my child, but still let them know that this is a responsibility that they have. But I mean, if I have a 2-year-old that is coming home with, I will not, I'm sorry to say. But if I have an older child who maybe we can have the conversation. But the one thing that I would not do is I'm not going to do my child's homework. Because I find that a lot of parents tell me that the homework that comes from school is actually it's for them. Exactly. It's not something that the child can do
on their own.
And I feel like that is setting up the child for many
an unhealthy dependence and many
on the adults.
Things. Yeah.
So personally, I would really talk to the school respectfully always, but I will not do my child's homework, and I would be okay with that. Like,
that's another thing, because when it affects their grades, I think we need to be okay with that.
Grades, should we go?
That's another topic. That's
how I feel about that.
But I mean, maybe we should touch it a bit, because I ask most of the time, like, okay, the people that, I mean, not to diss academic excellence, no. In fact, we found out that even the children, like Montessori children who are Montessori kids, grow on. Once a child gets to have a good grasp and understanding and a love for learning,
The
it
way
will
to
show.
find,
It will show. And then these ones end up being the ones who will be employer of labor and employ. So I'm not dissing grades and all of that, but I think that as parents, really, we should relax a bit on that.
Yes.
Because again, sometimes we haven't put in undue pressure on the children. You reward effort. I believe that you should reward effort and not the grades, not necessarily the outcome. The process is as important and many times more important than the outcome, because you want children to form great habits, and you want them to be able to do, you know, stuff that will make them successful and make them fulfilled adults in the future. So, but if our point, that's why a parent will do a child's homework. You know, that's why a parent, it's even as bad as helping, paying, and all sorts of things later in life to help the children, because you're so focused on the grades.
And you know, I just had a thought, you know, like, because I'm thinking back to my children. So my children go to my school. We don't give homework. We don't do exams. We do assess the children in different ways, but we don't assess them to their knowledge.
Because you just keep pressing my buttons. Because I mean, sometimes a child knows this thing. That's another thing. Like, I think we've all known that exams are not a true test of a person's ability. But I don't know, we're still stuck on them. I'm not saying we should scrap them totally, but we need to put them where it is.
So I was going to say that I've noticed with my children, and I hope that with the other children that go to my school, I hope the parents notice that. I've noticed that if you help a child develop a love for learning, you don't have to give them assignments. They will look, I mean, my son, when he's interested in numbers, he's looking for it by himself. You don't have to give him that assignment. When they were learning about shapes, they went around the house finding all the different trapeziums. Oh, this is a rhombus. Seeing it everywhere. Without any prompting, because it's something that they are interested in. That interest has been lit. And I think that the time spent doing homework is time taken away from
other things,
exploring and seeing how the world works. And I think personally, you can help a child learn how to keep working until, you know, evaluate themselves, try to do the best. With everything that we've talked about in previous episodes, we've talked about what did we talk about? We talked about discipline, so not spanking. We said we want them to have their own internal moral compass. And what was the first one about?
We talked about what was that now?
TV.
Yes.
So we want the children to be able to entertain themselves, not relying on. It's the same thing. You know, we want the children to be able to seek out knowledge too by themselves. What we're doing in school is that we're giving them the tools, we're giving them the basics, but we want them to be able to extend it beyond that. And it's not homework that does that. It's experience, life, living, seeing, exploring, playing. Because playing is like experimentation. It's how the children discover, and all of those things that they have learned in school, they start to see those concepts come alive. They play. Exactly. So when we need to give them the opportunity, basically, to do that.
That's really great. I know that we can go on this topic, but maybe we'll take it.
Sorry, I had a thought. No, I was going to say that one homework that I don't think, it doesn't need to be homework, but if you have an environment that is rich in books, like books, I mean, children can learn so much by themselves from books. So, but when you start assigning it as homework, you run the risk of making it so the child read a book again. But if you just have a house that has books and like you read to your children,
that's what I wanted to say.
You know, you read to yourself. I mean, like you read by
when
yourself.
When they see you, and then they're surrounded by books and they see you reading. You're developing a family culture of actually reading, and then you make reading interesting. I know that one of the things that we do, we reward, you know, in my home for reading as well. So we put reward. So when you do that, we're able to encourage. And then now it's, in fact, the reward that my son asks for now is more books. So he says, "Mommy, when I'm done with this, you're going to buy me another one." And that's really gratifying to see, because I want them to be able to love to do that without anybody having to push them. So thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed this particular episode. I also hope that you have learned a thing or two. And then if you have any questions, please put them down in the comment section, and then we'll find time to answer your questions. Until next time, it's been Shaking Tables with Dr. Megor.